Number one rule of Wall Street. Nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. Least of all stockbrokers. Right? It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is? Stay with me. So if you got a client who bought stock at 8 and it now sits at 16 and he's all fucking happy, he wants to cash in, liquidate, take his fucking money and run home, you don't let him do that.
Okay.
Because that would make it real.
Right.
No, what do? You get another brilliant idea, a special idea, another situation, another stock to reinvest his earnings and then some. And he will every single time because they're fucking addicted. And then you just keep doing this again and again and again.
Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. Often imitated, never replicated. A special Thursday update video for you. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Guys, on the economic front, we had a hot CPI hit. However, if you go back to Monday's video, it was not hotter than hot. So the used car salesman came on TV, AKA the professional money managers, and told everybody inflation's going down. Give us your money so we can charge you fees, and let's get these risk assets rising. We're going to look at the charts in a moment, but I want to focus on inflation for a second because this was a hot report. We've had several hot reports in a row now. Lee, give me slide number 1. The Wall Street Journal ran an article specifically on food inflation last month. In this article, they looked at a broad basket of food items. On average, food inflation is up 30%. 30%. Lee, show me slide number 2. Slide number 2, look at those percentages, guys. 10%, 15%, 13%. That is a 1-year change, okay? That's up in a single year. Notice this is also the American diet, right? Everybody that grocery shops already knows this, but this is the big disconnect between the salesmen on TV on Wall Street and Main Street. We all recognize this. Walmart just reported record sales because they said the wealthier consumer is buying down or shopping down to their level. Everybody's looking for bargains. All of this takes time to eat away at the economy. So we're going to look at the charts because, as you guys know, I have a fractal pattern. The fractal pattern consists of 2 separate elements: price and time. We want to look and see if our fractal is broken, or if you look at the thumbnail, look at the title, I'm expecting at a bare minimum a strong pullback, even if there's more upside to go. This is a euphoric rise with low participation, low volume. I'll show it to you guys in the charts. If you guys want to check out our Discord, highly encourage you to do so. Go visit our old website, marketmakers.trade, link in the video description. Love to see you in the room. The new website will be active shortly. Lee, let's start the show. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start off on the 10-year yield. Was the uptrend broken? We definitely had a sell-off in the 10-year. It is at 4.37 right now. But if you look at this, again, it came right back down to the fractal high. Here's your uptrend, right? This is a 3-day chart. Here's your uptrend. It is still intact. Doesn't mean it's going to take off to the moon. No, but remember, you're going to get a rebound. Here's your wave 1, and then here's your wave 2. Wave 1, wave 2, you either come up for a lower high or you'll come up, pull back, and come break out to the upside, okay? So that will put pressure on the markets as well. If we look at the DXY real quick, uptrend still intact, okay? So you still have this uptrend going back to December 2023. Definitely had a sell-off. You can see it in the FX market as well. But right now, the uptrend is still intact, barring any further weakness. What I want to look at is a 3-day chart across the indices. We're going to look at Bitcoin as well, Solana and Ethereum, and of course the global equities as well, the indices, okay? Because they all have this same pattern here. Speaking about the indices, they all have this 3-day pattern like this. And guys, this is a couple things I want to show you on these charts really quickly. Look at your volume on the 3-day chart. Low participation. You see this? Volume not only is below average, it's declining bar by bar by bar. It keeps declining. What is price doing? Rising. You're getting volume divergence. If we look at this on the MFI perspective, money flow into the market, this is very dramatic. Where was your high? We talk about this all the time. The Santa Claus rally, the winter solstice rally, right? That's your high in the money flow. And as you've gone on to make an all-time high and now the rebound, look at your money flow, bearish divergence. And you could say, well, Brendan, that's the 3-day chart. What about the daily? It's just easier to show you on the 3-day chart. On the daily time frame, it's the same thing. Let me adjust this so we can see this. There you go. So you have the lower highs in the MFI and look at the volume. Volume is low. Look at price. Price is rising. By the way, this is the Dow on the YM. So let's go ahead and look at this as well. So what's the pattern that we're looking at here on the Dow? Remember, I'm looking at my W pattern, right? W pattern right here. I'm going to take my fibs. I'm going to go to that midpoint, pull it down to that higher low. We didn't get to the 2618. We got right up to the 2 fib and hit it, found resistance at 39,736. The 2618 is 40,314. Notice that still doesn't take out your all-time high. Notice the Dow did not take out its all-time high yet. The NASDAQ did. The S&P did. Multiple European indices did. Bitcoin just came up off its base, and the Dow's still struggling right here. So we're going to watch this and see if we can get the 40,314. I'm expecting good resistance there as well, even just above it at the trend line. So that's something to watch on a daily time frame. MFI in a bullish territory, but again, divergence, right? Volume momentum's good, which it should be. This is the momentum. Volume momentum's good here on the rally. Rally for volume is down left to right, which is why I'm expecting a pullback. Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's look at the NQ real quick on retracements. Here's our retracement on the NQ, that initial move down of 9%, 8.5%, 20 bars, 29 days, 22 bars, 30 days, a day apart. And now we have the much stronger rise up than we got on the NQ the first time, right? So when we look at this from a timing perspective, 41 bars, 58 days, top to top. Where are we at here? 41 bars, 60 days. So we have May 20th is the top. So the price element didn't repeat the exact fractal. Remember, I've said this many times. If you had the exact fractal repeat, we would all be stupidly wealthy. This would be very easy to trade. It didn't repeat the exact fractal. You came up for a Bitcoin top, making a higher high here on your second top, but I still expect this to pull back, okay? And I'm looking at that time frame, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in this time frame. It doesn't have to be to the exact day, but getting in that ballpark. And we're going to look at the resistance on both the NQ, the ES as well. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at. The fractal timing is still intact. We look at the ES 3-day chart. Guys, look at this. I mean, look at the beautiful 3-wave double top. Price right now is 53.40. Look at your volume. Down left to right, not just down. Each consecutive bar is lower than the previous bar. You see this? So we're looking at this. We're tracking this. We look at the MFI. MFI, again, same thing, guys. Where is peak FOMO? Your winter solstice Santa Claus rally. MFI is way up here. Look at your volume momentum on the 3-day chart. This is Gann's main trend chart, was the 3-day chart. We look at the volume momentum, divergent, right? If we look at the MFI, just like on the Dow, divergent, lower highs in the MFI, price actually made a new all-time high, 2 new all-time highs since peak FOMO. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And let's look at this on the daily chart. Let's go ahead and put this to a daily. Daily chart, same thing you can see in the volume, guys, but I want to look at our pattern, right? 53.40 right now. Again, we have the same key pattern here in the marketplace. We have the W pattern here in the marketplace. So when we look at this W pattern, same exact deal here, pulling it from the midpoint to the higher low. We struck the 2618 beautifully, 53.45. We got a few dollars above it. You're at 53.40. I'm expecting resistance in this range, guys. This is harmonic expansion out to the 2618. Does it mean it can go higher? Of course it could go higher. Anything can happen. This is all about probabilities. We took out the all-time high, but I'm expecting us to start building a top. And I'm going to show you on the European indices part of my logic of why I'm expecting this, the leads and the lags. The European market, specifically the DAX, specifically the Euro Stoxx 50, broke out first, did the exact same double top type pattern. And today they were selling off some. So we're going to look at those as well. Now, again, we looked at this from a couple different perspectives of fibs here on the S&P. We pull it from the all-time high down to that corrective low. Remember, I was targeting the 786, and you can see we had some nice resistance here. We even got our little pullback, our retracement pullback from our fractal pattern, right? And now we got the surge that got just above, took out the all-time high, and we're going to see if we get our resistance levels now. But what I think is going to happen, looking at the divergence here as well on the daily time frame, what I think is going to happen is we're going to pull back after we start to top out. Again, it could happen. The top could be in on Friday, Monday, Tuesday, but maybe sometime next week we're going to start topping out and we're going to pull back. We're going to reclaim some of this. So in other words, what am I saying when I say pull back? I'm talking about this type of pattern forming, right? We get some type of pullback, retrace some of this rally, come back up, get a W type pattern back in the marketplace, just like we had, if we're going to continue, or we're going to come down, rebound, come back up again, and get this larger three-wave double top. We'll get a smaller version of it and start selling back off to wherever that key support structure is. So that's the main thing. Where is that key support structure? Depends how you want to measure it. If we measure it from the corrective low up to the high here, the current all-time high, I need to add some fibs. Let's get the 382 and the 5 on here. Looking at this, 5201, 5200 takes you to the base of this structure that you could retrace to, start ping-ponging around, make a bullish pattern, make a bearish pattern. However, if we want to tighten this up and come up to this impulsive move out here after the W pattern, you can see that takes us to 5229. Guys, either way, this move is overdone in my opinion. The move is overdone. You're going to retrace, you're going to top. Right now, you're at 5332 here on the price of the asset. Just sold off a little bit as I'm talking. So let's go ahead and look at this on the NQ. Same exact thing. Three-wave double top. Look at your volume. Bearish, bearish, bearish. Lower bars all the way down. Look at your MFI, right? MFI peaked over here, and now you're way down here in the bearish territory. Of course, when this candle closes in a day, this will come up some, but it'll still be bearish divergent, even though you put in a new all-time high. So let's go ahead and flip this over to NASDAQ on the daily, getting a little red candle here on the daily, 18,687. We made a new high at 18,760. So 18,7 is where you're at right now. We have our W pattern in the marketplace right here, guys. Look at this W pattern. We have our W pattern. So what do I want to do? I want to take my fibs, measure the middle, down to the higher low. 2618, we did not get up to it, 18,859. Maybe NVIDIA earnings can get you up that additional 150 points or so to get up to this level, right? So we'll see, because I think they report on the 25th of this month. So that's a possibility. But in general, if the S&P starts retracing, you're going to see the NASDAQ retrace. You're going to see the Dow retrace. The S&P is a larger, broader index. You can see you're below average volume all the way down, some variation in the volume bars here, but below average volume, left to right, the whole rally up. Price is 18.7 at the time of this recording. Let's go ahead and look at the Russell. What about the small caps that keep trying to sell you on TV? Well, when we look at the Russell on a 3-day, I mean, look at this divergence on the Russell. Here's your MFI, that peak right there. And look at this lower high, and then look at the Russell. Made a new high in this corrective structure, right? Your breakout from the Wyckoff fractal. There's your high, came back down, came back up to challenge the high. MFI keeps going down. This is extremely bearish in my opinion, and it's going to retrace to support. The 618 from the all-time high was still your key resistance at 2146. You almost came back up to challenge it. Right now, the Russell at 2105. If you look at Bitcoin tried to break out here. We had our W pattern in play here. Beautiful W pattern. And then we have Bitcoin trading in this lower level after the sell-off, right? So let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and mark this off. We take that fractal low. We come up to the high. And you can see Bitcoin, actually, let's put this high over here from that rebound. You can see Bitcoin through some wicks above 66,827, right? And you can see you have your down thrust, but you're still in this range here on the 3-day chart. What does this look like on Bitcoin on a 3-day chart? I mean, this looks worse, obviously, because it's been drifting down, whereas the market's been going up. But look at the bearish divergence on the MFI. look at your volume momentum on the 3-day chart, right? And you can see it in the price. Now, if we look at this from a Fibonacci perspective on Bitcoin, let me go ahead and put this up here. Fibonacci, go to that all-time high, go to your corrective low. You can see your 618.67.225. If we want to measure this from the second peak of the W right here, right? There's your second peak of the W. Then we'll move this over and you'll see this actually hit the 618. If you view this as waves or view this as legs, what do I mean by that? You have your first wave down, then you have your second wave down, right? Remember, I was looking for 3 waves to a bottom. Okay. So that's that target I was looking at, the 52 being my higher range. We got down to 56.5 and that 45, 46 range being that lower range. But that's what I'm looking at. And right now you're still just trending in this range. If we look at this from a fractal corridor perspective, you try to get above the 50 on Bitcoin and you're selling back off below the 50. You're at 64,950 right now. Here's our bearish territory, and we may be re-entering the bearish territory down in here. Okay. So we want to see if we can hold some level of support, start trying to come up. Been showing you this pattern over and over again because it's important, the W pattern, because you have your higher low. You need to get this breakout. You got the breakout above the fractal, above the 50, but now you're giving it back, okay? Like I said, I expect these markets to pull back. That was a euphoric rise. Cryptos are going to track with the equity markets by and large. If you look at this again on the daily, we just showed you the 3-day. Look at your MFI, guys. Your MFI, here's your peak. Your peak over here in February. Here's your MFI peak on the daily. Look at this. Lower highs consistently in range. You made your all-time high, bearish divergence. You came back up to challenge it. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. You see it in the price. Your volume momentum is chopping, but it is flat. Hence, Bitcoin is struggling. Looking at Solana, we talked about the W in Solana as well. We wanted to see Solana break out and challenge some levels. Tried to break out of our Wyckoff fractal here. Got rejected at the 50% retracement at 161. Solana is at 157. Look for it to try to hold this range and come back in to this range if it gets further selling pressure. If we look at Ethereum, same thing, guys. Ethereum didn't get much of a boost at all. You can still see the downward drift. We still have our 3 waves to a bottom. Wave 1, wave 2. Is this going to be wave 3? Because right now you're holding support. Will we come down to this next level where I expect Ethereum to come down to beneath that 2,700 level on that next wave down when we get a stronger pullback? Now, if the equities can rebound and keep going up, you're going to see this in crypto as well. But they're not doing a whole lot at the moment. What are we talking about with the DAX having the same pattern as the U.S. markets? The DAX printed this pattern prior to the U.S. markets, made its Bitcoin double top, right? Here's your first all-time high, came back up for the second all-time high. And what is it doing? It's starting to sell off, right? Small sell-off right now, but it is starting to sell off. And we're going to see if this gains any velocity because the DAX, like everything else, I believe will come back to support. Right now, it's at 18,794. Let's put this on the daily. Get rid of these lines here. Put it back on the daily. So when we're looking at this on the daily, you're down almost 200 points on the day. You have your W pattern here. We have a key fib that we hit, the 1.732. As you can see, I would expect to see if the DAX can try to hold 18,737. If not, guys, I think it's coming back down to 18,641. And this could be your drift. Remember, on all these markets, I want to see a drift. What's a drift? Start chopping around, start making patterns, either a bullish pattern back to the upside, or if you get your drift and it does something like this with a lower high, this is a trade right here as well, okay? So we're looking at all these markets, all these patterns to assess what we can see. If we look at the FTSE is still hitting our 1618 at 84.83. MFI in the daily is turning down, and you're at 84.54 right now. So you're starting to drift sideways, starting to get some volatility. We're going to start making patterns and start having trades on some of these assets once again. Look at Euro Stocks 50. Do you notice anything here? 3-day double top, right? Just like the US indices. Made its Bitcoin double top. Your high, your next high took out the previous high. These are not all-time highs on the Euro Stocks 50. It still hasn't made its all-time high since .com. But looking at this, again, getting the sell-off as well. What about our indicators? Look at your MFI. MFI, bearish divergence. I mean, guys, you're seeing this. I don't use indicators to trade with, I use them for confluence. But if you can see this, what the markets are doing, it helps you assess the probabilities of what the next move is, right? Nothing's guaranteed, but this is why you're getting a retracement now. You have bearish divergence. If we look at the volume here, let me throw the volume on Euro Stocks 50. Look at Euro Stocks 50. I got to show you on the DAX too. Let me get rid of this thing so you can see it. Look at the Eurostoxx 50. Every single volume bar is not only below average, every single subsequent bar is lower than the previous bar on the 3-day chart. Low volume rally, volume divergence, money flow divergence. So do the math. Now you're retracing from a level. 5060 is where you are right now on Eurostoxx 50. If we look at this from the absolute low of that corrective low, this could come down quite a bit if we want to pull this up to this impulsive leg out. 382 is at 5016, right? You're at 5060. You could be coming down to visit that level. Let me throw on the, what's it called? On the DAX, I'm going to have to show you the volume because it's the same as the Eurostoxx 50. Look at the volume. The volume here is below average, down, left to right. You see that? What did price do? Continued to rise. Things you should track. Let's go ahead and move forward. Looking at the Paris market even weaker, did not make a Bitcoin top. It did not come out and take its previous high out, right? The previous all-time high. Paris market selling off as well. You want to guess what the volume and everything did? We can take a look. From the absolute low, you could come down to 8,100. I like taking it from this impulsive leg out. 8117. We can see if we chop down here to the 8117, if you start selling off with a little bit more ferocity. If we look at the MFI, again, bearish divergence. Guys, this is a pattern, right? You got to notice these patterns here in the marketplace. You had your high, you had your ultimate high here in December, right? Peak MFI, peak momentum. Here's your high, and now you have a lower high and then a lower high in the MFI. And what did the price do? Price came up to challenge the all-time high, and now it's selling off. If we look at this again from the perspective of volume, let me throw the volume back on here. 3-day chart. You had some good volume here on that bar. So that's where the bulls and bears were fighting. But look at the volume here. You had a 3 sigma bar here showing you all the selling that was stepping into the marketplace. Let's go ahead and look at this on a daily, see what this looks like. Daily, Paris market, you had some above average volume bars here. So you have some chop, you have some fighting going on here. Unlike the DAX, unlike the US indices, which is just low volume, bearish, divergent rallies. Looking at gold, gold came up, challenged 2,400. We've been talking about that on the Discord, been talking about it on the channel. Looking at gold, why do we look at gold? Challenging this 2,400 level, exact same pattern as the S&P. 3-day double top. It moves with the S&P, as I've showed you numerous times. So I'll go over that again on Monday's video. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Again, hope to see you guys in the Discord, Messagely, and Telegram if you have any issues at all. And I'll talk to you guys Monday. Take care, everybody.